Martin here, and today what it is that I'm hoping to do is to make another simple pot, but this time it's not a round one, it's going to be an oval one. I've already rolled out the clay base, and down the side here I've got some coils, okay, already done to save a bit of time. But here, as you can see, I have a number of different templates, different sizes, and they're all quite useful. Some are made from paper, some from card, some from plywood. I wouldn't advise doing paper ones because when you put the paper on the clay, very often it'll stick, and that's not good. So what I want to do is to make a pot. That's a bit too small. This is a lovely shape. I don't like that one. That's a bit too elongated, but I like this shape, but just not quite big enough. And this, yeah, this one's good. This one's good. I can use this shape, which I've put in position, but it's just a little bit smaller than I'd like. So what I'm going to do now is show you how I go about using this template, but at the same time making it slightly larger. So I'm going to show you the little tool that I use, which is this. Okay, can you see it all right? And by spacing this, you can do wonderful things. So I'm going to have to, yes, this is made for this level here. You see what you do is that, so I'll put this around here, on there, and I'll follow this around, follow it around. I'm pressing the tool against the side of the oval template, and the other side, as you can see, the scribe side, is doing it right. That's fine. Now I can remove that. Lovely shape, nice size. So what I do now is I'll use my pin. I will just cut around here, and it's important when you to try to concentrate and keep the pin vertical, not like that, or you'll get undercut. So this way, by keeping it vertical, not going around too fast, the side of the base will also be vertical. So simple little gag, but quite helpful. Oval pots are very, very useful. They have, you know, they're very flexible for different types of trees. So we'll lift that off, smooth it a bit. Okay, and then I've just got to very gently, oh boy, lift this. Okay, right. Now with oval pots, I usually put the holes on either side. So that means I'll put my chop mark in the middle and I'll be safe. What was I going to say? Yeah, I must be one of the few people that actually puts the chop mark before the pot's finished. So I'm going over to the other side again, get my chops. This is the one I use. And in here I have my bit of sponge, which is impregnated with oil. WD-40 is fine. And that just makes this, it just covers this with a little bit of oil, so when you press in, it doesn't actually stick to the clay. Okay, so wheel that round. And now I'll do the same. There we go. Beautiful. So put those down there. Now what I need to do is to flip this over. So I need to get another board, which I'll get from down here. Just going to be absolutely sure this is free. over. Lift this off carefully. There we go. You don't need these anymore, so I'll put these out of the way. The first coil. Okay, so the usual thing, I just push down to anchor it, go around, pushing in. I'm going to try and do this as quickly as I can, because you've seen it all before. The clay is not quite as plastic as I would like it. It's a little bit on what's known as the short side, which means it can break quite easily. It needed a little bit more time in the bag to mature. And that can just go in there and around. Okay, quickly just vibrate that in position to make sure it's making a good contact. You'll see that I haven't used any water or done any scratching on the base of the pot or underneath the coil. It's not necessary. So now what I'm going to do is just quickly just go around this inside. Just put it around, left hand just supporting the coil, one finger. And then I'll get a tool and raise that up. You see how my finger on my left hand is supporting the coil as I raise the base up into it, so that I don't distort its position as we go round. I'm not sure that it's necessary for me to demonstrate putting all the coils on. I think we'll have a break in a moment. I'll build up the pot and then we'll get back to it. Well, as you can see, I've put the last coil on that I want to get to the height that I require. So we just finish this last bit off, and then I'll show you the various stages that are necessary to make the pot a little bit smoother. I mean, sometimes people are quite happy to leave it as it is and just appreciate the texture that one gets from, you know, this finger and thumb business. It's got its own charm. Now the problem is, as you can see, there's a slight sort of skirt on the bottom here, which I absolutely hate. Okay, it always looks as though the pot has been dropped down, which is not clever. So the first thing I'm going to do is just check all round, pressing, leveling. All right. Now the way I usually tackle it is to do the inside first and then the outside, and then I'll trim the top, and I've got some interesting things to show you there. So I'll just get a little tool from over here. This is my little tool that I often use. I do have another one, but I can't seem to find it. Anyway, so we'll go here, and I go around the inside, around the bottom, like so. Not putting too much pressure on, because you can go around as often as you like. Now you see this little line here. I'm just going to see if I can eliminate that. Nicely shaped tool, okay, it's a plastic tool, very hard plastic tool, but it's a brilliant one. I use it from all sorts of things. As you see, I've used this side here to do the bottom. I'm going to use this side here now just to do the initial bit around the base to start the process of smoothing the inside. I'm going to be careful that I don't apply too much pressure, otherwise it'll distort the wall. That's enough for the time being. I'm going to change now to a different tool. If we come over here and have a look at these tools over here, you can see I've got various serrated tools. Here's a plastic one, and you can see different sized teeth. I've got these which I use quite frequently. These are my metal ones, metal kidneys, and they've got saw-like teeth on them. Then you've got things like this that you can drag around. This one for bigger pots. So what I'm going to do in the first instance, I think, is just probably see how these combine. This one will be for the outside. Very, very gently go around the inside with this tool, but as I say, it's no use just doing it like that, because you just get a straight parallel line. So what as I do is I raise it up and down, and this tends to merge the coils far better. It's quite coarse, not too fussed about that at this stage. There you are, get an idea. I'll tell you what can often look very nice, particularly on the outside if you like. If I just sort of rub this around like that, you can get a very nice texture, which can often be attractive on the outside of pots. Well, as I showed you on the other side, here we've got one of these serrated kidneys. This has been pretty worn down, you can see how it should be. Anyway, I'm going to go round over where I've just been with this one. I'll go around straight first of all, just to get rid of all those rough burrs, and now I'm going to do my bouncing. That's enough. That's enough. Okay, clean that off. I'll put that down, and you can see inside it's got a bit scuffed up. So once again, with this tool, we'll just carefully go around the inside gently. And I've said in previous videos that I don't like my pots to be overly smooth. You know, if I wanted that, I would probably resort to either slab building or working on a wheel or in a mould. I like these pots to have, well, to have the evidence actually that they have been made from coils. So now you can see what I've done here. I'm using the straight side of this tool to smooth this out. It's probably smooth enough. There we go. Get rid of that. Put that on the side there, and that's not too bad. You see what I mean about this kind of texture that's left? If I wanted to fill that, I could do, and I probably will on the outside, as I'll show you. But for the purpose of this pot, I'm going to leave it. Another reason why leaving some of this textural stuff on the inside of the pot, it gives the roots a better grip. Right, just checking the shape again now, just gently. Okay, I think that's all right. I'll just go over it with this one. And then just gently around the inside. that'll do. Now I'm going to do the outside of the pot, just checking again, always monitoring the shape. You get carried away. And again, always tap into position. Don't try to push the thing into shape because it invariably distorts. Right, now, back to my goodies over here. And this time, you see these chappies here? These were the ones I've just recently sharpened on one of the videos. And what I've got, you see we've got different angles. You've got a steep one there and a rather more pointed one there. But I'm going to use this one in the first instance, and I'm going to see whether I can cut away some of this skirt around the bottom. And as always, I use my starting point here so I know how many times I've gone round. Keeping that flat and pressing in, not too hard, but enough to just take some of it away. Round and round and round. Clean that. Round and round and round. So straight away you can see that doesn't look quite so okay, to put it bluntly. And of course I can now go around with this other tool. I can use it this way or I can use it that way, and I think I'm going to use it this way. Don't ask me why, but I'm going to. It just feels right. There you are. You see, straight away you have the pot looking as if it's lifted. All right, now we have to smooth the side. In the first instance, I'm just going to probably go around with this guy, just gently, just to take the initial mountain tops off. There you are, see that? Smoother, quite nice actually. We've got quite a heavy recess there, which I'll sort out in a moment. Okay. We still need to take a bit more off the bottom, so I'll do this one. When I say we still need to take a bit more off the bottom, how do I know? I know because my eye tells me it's not quite right, and one needs to train one's eye to be able to appreciate the right balance. So I'm going to use this plastic tool now with the middle size serration. Okay, you see you've got fine, coarse and middle, and I'm going to go round and I'm going to bounce. Now you see, if I just get my hand and I just do that, that can look quite nice. I could leave it like that if I wanted to, but for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to. Okay, so we've more or less smoothed it a bit. Now I need to take some of this coarseness out still. So I've got a nice little plastic tool here, and with a good edge there. So I'll just go round back to my arrow and just gently go around in the first circuit, putting a little bit more pressure, not enough to push the pot in too far. I'm putting greater pressure on the bottom than on the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is fill some of these gaps, all right, because they are quite excessive. I did this purposely so that I could show you how I go about doing that. So what I'm going to do is just stretch over here into my reservoir, get some clay, soften it up, put it back in, soften it up, almost there. Right, so what I'll do now is just get this stuff and yes. Okay, just coming now round to the starting point of where I first put the clay on. And I think what I'm going to do now is once again just give it a quick smooth over with this tool. Clean it first, clean my fingers, a bit sticky, and I'll just go over it lightly. Well, you can see that's made quite a difference, but not enough. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on here and there, because I don't want to cover it all, but I do want to retain some texture. Almost finished. Just put a little bit up on the rim. This bit up here. Da-dum, da-dum. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Okay, that's sorted. Let's keep my fingers again. Feeling back. Clean the tool. And around we go. So what's the next thing we've got to do? The next thing we've got to do is trim the top to make it level. Okay, I'm just going to trim off the top now, and for that I've got some lovely little toys over here if you'd like to come over. This is my little one I think you've seen before, and here's a very sophisticated engineering scribe with some very, very sensitive adjustments. And here's another one. So for this pot here, I think I'm going to use this chappy, my favorite. Okay, so I'll bring it over, loosen it up, and raise this to about there, and then tighten it. Yeah. Now, if I make a mark here, and I turn this little knob here, you can see it can lower it or it can raise. Okay, So I'm going to go round gently, taking it round, a little at a time. If I press too hard, it'll distort. I think we've gone round all the way through. So we'll take this off, put it to one side. But we still have a rough, rather severe edge on the top, inside and outside. So what I'm going to do now, in the first instance, is just very, very gently take a slight bit of this burr off the inside. Because normally I wouldn't put an inner rim on a pot this size, but I think it'd be nice for you to see how I go about it. So I'm going to extrude some clay to make into an inner rim, and I've got here a special tool, okay, which will go against it. You see, like that all the way around. So I'm going to stick this over in the extruder. Quite hard. I think I've got enough there. I hope so. So cut these square. That'll do. Now I've got to get some water and just put it round. Yeah, put it round. Put it round. That'll do for the time being. So I get my thing here. Just put it round there. And I'll just carefully, very, very carefully position this. And I don't make it flush, I raise it just slightly higher than this edge. Very slightly higher. You'll see why in a minute. Oh dear. I'll just trim that bit off there. Let's place that around. Just butt in that around. And notice I'm pushing in, compressing as I go along. There. Take this a little bit over the top of the other one and then just cut through like so. Take that, put that in position, There you go. So that is basically just pressing the little lower part to make sure it's making contact with the pot wall. Yes, it is. And now what I'm going to do, keep my thumb, I'm just going to, this is tricky, just gently merge this. Notice how my left hand is supporting the outer wall, because I'm actually having to put quite a lot of pressure on this inner thing just to push it down to make sure it's actually making contact, because as you can see there's no slurry and no scuffing. It was just literally just water painted on. Okay, bingo, we're there now. Right, so now what I've got to do, come to my trusted little tool that you've seen earlier. Rub around with this, gently. Coil pots are easy enough to make, no question about that, but they are very, very time consuming because of all the different stages. So now I've got to merge this over, and for that I'm going to use this little wooden tool here, which I've adapted. It's a commercial tool, but I've adapted it, sharpened it. And you see it's a rotary action that I'm using. So that I'm pulling that outer rim into the wall, gently, because we don't want to pull the wall over. It's all to do with feeling. All to do with feeling. I've said so often to people, I don't make pots, I feel them. You feel the pot into shape. I mean, that's particularly the case when one's working with little accent pots. Right, just go around once more time. Right, now I'm going to go in the opposite direction with a slightly larger sweep. That'll do. Just checking the outside that I haven't got too much overhang. That's enough, that's fine. Now I've got to just tart up this inside. And for that I have different tools once again. I have this one in the first instance, okay. Here you can see it. This was just a regular tool that you could get from the nurseries. Not the nurseries, what I'm talking about. You get this from any of the... I'm not doing this at right angles to the edge. I'm doing it at an angle so that you're using the back of the tool, not the front. If I was to use the front, it would immediately dig in and you'd be in trouble. So just very, very lightly in this first circuit. Very, very lightly. Gradually adapting it a little bit more. And I used to always do my inner rims using just this tool. But now I've got these other little goodies here. Look at that, eh? Treasure trove. And I've got all sorts of different sizes, and the best thing about it is, guys, I'm going to show you later on in this video exactly how to make one of these. Okay, you see how nice that is? I'm just altering the angle slightly without touching the inner side. And I'm just going to stop when I get to the starting point, which is where my arrow is here, and just check. Not bad. Clean that off. And I'll just take that little rough inner rim, little burr at the bottom, off with my finger. I think that's good enough. Okay, now for the magic. I think I'll make this fairly round, okay? No, I won't. I'll make it a little bit sharper. So I've got different angles here. That's a nice one. Clean the tool, and around we go. Where's my starting point? So I'll start off here. I won't have the tool flat yet. I have it slightly, very, very slightly raised. You can see that, just slightly raised off the front. And around we go. So that's about it. I'm going to now just see whether I can just take a little bit of the other side off. You see, I've altered the angle of the tool now, and I'm almost touching the side of the pot. I think that's good enough. So what I'll do now is come back to my trusted soft rubber kidney and just give it a quick little Ujima flip. Okay, and then just go around the top very lightly. That's not quite right there, and that's not quite right there. So I've got to just tap that out slightly. Tap that out. It's not too bad. Tap that in. Go around to this side. Tap it in. Tap that out. And I think that'll do. I'm just going to give this one final undercut on the bottom. Okay, now the next thing I have to do, is make my 2 drainage holes, and for that I've got a nice selection of biscuit cutters that you can get from any kitchen shop. No, I think I'll use this smaller one. But I never get this right. Put it there. Turn that around. Yeah. You can bet your bottom dollar I haven't got this right, but it doesn't matter. It's still going to drain. Okay. All right. Well, this is about as far as I wish to go on this pot for the demonstrations of showing you how to smooth various things and to put on an inner rim. I'm not going to bother to put the feet on this particular pot today. You can see this on another video. So basically that's it. I showed you how I smooth off the rims of the pots with a little device that I make, and it's this little thing. Hope you can see it. Simple little bent brass in this case, but you could use a tin can. You just rescue it from a used tin. But what I'm going to do now is to actually show you how to make one of these simple little tools. It's a little tool that I've kept close to my heart for all these years, but I think the time has now come to share. I first saw these little tools being used when I was a boy. I couldn't have been much more than about 8 or 9 at the time, and it was some Chinese workmen who were making a gutter, and they had just smoothed it off with some cement, and on the edge, the actual corner of right angle edges, they used a tool similar to this to smooth off that edge. And I thought, how clever is that? And even at that age, at 8, the actual device stuck in my head. And it wasn't until all these years later, that when I started bonsai, it dawned on me that would be a good way to smooth off the edges of the pot rims and the bases when the pot's upside down. And it works, it just works a treat. You've got to do it, guys. You've got to do it. This is just a little sheet of brass, and I'm going to cut a small slither of it, and I'm going to cut it there, like so. And let me see, this is a bit bigger than I need, so I'm going to cut it again like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is just cut it like that. And I've got a nice little portable vise which I attach. Right, now this little thing that I've cut, I have to tap right. Now what I'm going to do is place this in the vise down to the level, okay, of where I've cut. So I'll put that in the vise. Right about there. And I'll just bend that over. That's that. Loosen that up. Okay. And now I've got to bend this around. You see what we've got here? This kind of thing. I've got to bend this around and create the little smoother there. And you've got different kinds of metal rod, okay, for different things. This one I think I will do to this size, okay? So I'm going to once again stick this in the vise, and I will now just put this in there, and around we go. And there you can see what a lovely thing that is. All right, open it slightly. Now these corners can sometimes, when you're smoothing around, get caught in the clay walls. So I'm going to just move them back a little bit by pressing down. This is awkward. I'll just do it here, and just bending them outwards just a little bit, like that. Can you see that? And I'll do the same here. Just press that just a little bit. Right. And these corners here are very, very sharp. So I'll get some little pliers. And I'm now just going to bend these over. Now I can put them there, just tap them down, and that will make it a lot safer. That's fine. And you see now, you can put that there, and if I smooth it, I'm getting a very, very wider one curve there than here. So now that I started, I'll finish. Sorted. Right, so that is a fabulous tool, and I use it on almost every single one of my pots, and I really recommend it. To show how you like my little secret, please press the like and subscribe button. Thank you.